And welcome back to the Mind and Body Understanding podcast, hosted by Jeff Pharion, presented by Pharion Counseling LLC in partnership with the Foolproof Entertainment Network. As always, we are here with Jeff Pharion. Jeff, how's it going?
Hey, Reg. Very excited for this show. Been waiting for it since I had a discussion with this young lady just a little while ago about manifesting. And we're going to break it down, break it out, talk about it, go up and down with it, hopefully find some common ground and some ways that it can help people. And our guest, once again, is Kelly Smith. She is a classmate of mine from Ashland Theological Seminary. We graduated together with our LPCs, and she's here to talk about manifesting. Kelly, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So excited. Before we get to that, though, since everyone's got a taste maybe from listening to the last podcast about you, tell the audience something about you that they wouldn't know.
Well, something that's they wouldn't know. I'm a brand new manifester. This
Okay.
is like, total beginner's mind stuff for me. Yeah.
So it can be an adjective, it can be a noun, it can be a verb, all of it. Manifesting, manifester, manifest.
Probably, yeah. I don't
So
think
what is
that-
it? What's manifest? What is that? What does that mean?
Well, in my experience, it's utilizing an internal process with your thoughts and your emotions to achieve some sort of tangible outcome that's in line, with that thought process.
So your thoughts, your mindset, your emotions, and trying to achieve an outcome.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
Whew, that's a good question. Well, I think one, you kind of have to buy into the process a little bit, that maybe learning about it has been helpful for me.
Maybe, and this is from your own notes to me, maybe it would be a good idea just to tell me about how you came about it and how you started doing this.
Yeah, thank you. So I think that for me, I have a background in my family and in my own personal experiences with Christianity, and I kind of found that some parts of the way that I understood Christian practice, especially with prayer, really felt very hard for me to grasp. I felt kind of disillusioned with, I don't even understand this process. I don't know what it means to sort of ask and you shall receive kind of business. For me...
I always feel guilty asking God for stuff.
Oh, do you really? Interesting.
Yeah, because why shouldn't I just go out and earn it myself, I guess is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
For me, it was why would this be worth his time?
Right.
Their time or whatever.
Right. But anyways,
Yeah,
back to your thought.
Well, for me, it was kind of I just felt withheld from God. I felt like I had no access to anything really sort of good or even great from God. That prayer really wasn't a thing that I felt worked for me. And some of that was sort of the religious experiences that I found myself in that were negative, and some of the thinking that was from that. But, really I just was this shit does not work,
Okay. So how do we go from that to finding manifesting?
Well, so I actually kind of started switching some of my religious thinking towards a more Eastern lens.
Mm-hmm.
So without leaving Christianity behind whatsoever, but shifting the lens to a more Buddhist open-minded thinking, that kind of just led me to different resources. Like, how are my thoughts movable, and how do they impact, like what happens in my world? And so that kind of led me down, just, learning about, like, I don't know, what it is to challenge your thoughts and to lean into emotion and maybe imagine a different thing for myself. So I know this sounds kind of, I'm feeling like it's hard for me to talk about because it's been sort of like a kind of an unexamined process. I've just like jumped from, one resource to another. So I found this book, The Creation Frequency, because I was like, what is this manifesting stuff about? I hear people talking about it. My neighbor, she was like, hey, you should get these emails from this thing called The Universe Talks. I get them every day, and it's like so cool. The universe sends me emails, and I'm like, okay, why not? That sounds great.
Wow.
And so, like, the emails from the universe come every day, and they came every day for, like, almost a year, and I'm like, what is this thing talking about? It feels really nice to think these things, like, that the universe has a plan, and that I can't mess it up, and, at the time I was going through a divorce, after being married for almost 18 years, and really was just, like, undone, obviously, if I'm thinking about, like, things like prayer that have been kind of anchors in my life for since I was 7 years old, being like worthless. I'm just like, nothing is working.
So you wanted to challenge your thinking?
Yeah, I just was like, something's working for somebody out there, and these manifestors keep talking about these things working for them. What do I have to lose to try it out?
So what did you first manifest? And like, I guess if we're going to collectively say what it means, if my understanding is correct, you take something that you want to see happen in your life and you focus on it. Is that part of it?
That's part of it. And you focus on it in a really regular way, as if it has already happened.
As if it's already happened.
As if it's already happened. And
I have $1 million, Reggie.
how would you feel? How do you feel about having $1 million when you look at your bank account?
Yeah.
Right, okay. All right.
Barely paid off my debt.
Yeah,
Anyways.
right.
All right, I should have said $2 million. All right, this is not a comedy show. All right. So
But check out Two Fools Agree on Friday nights. So.
Please do. Those guys are funny. So you focus on it as if it has already occurred, like it's real, and then what?
So, and then you're noticing your emotions. You're really kind of drumming up that emotional energy that you would have. So, for me, my first thing that I manifested, actually, I just started a private practice, and I was like, not making as much money as I needed to make. And so,
I remember talking to you when you first got the office, and you were concerned about getting enough clients.
Oh, yeah, terrified, because, I have 2 kids, I'm a single parent, and this was like a huge leap of faith, I was living off my credit card for a couple months, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a finiteness to this, something's got to give. And really just doing the manifesting work, actually, it changed so much for me, really. So I imagined myself having a certain amount of clients, and
how many?
Really just 25.
25
clients a
So you
week.
started, and how many did you have when you started manifesting?
I think I had probably about 12.
So you manifested basically doubling your practice.
Yeah, basically doubling my practice.
And how long did it take till that happened?
It didn't take very long. I think I started probably in like December, and by like mid-January for sure I was like at 33 clients a week, which is too much. And so it even like maximized my original goal. But part of it is like, you don't get lost in the details. So even like settling on that number of 25 was kind of like a mistake, I guess, in manifesting. I was just imagining myself like being able to pay myself a certain amount every week, and how that would feel, to have enough money, to pay my life, pay for my life, and support my kids. And so I hit that. It was probably about maybe like, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks, I think. Things started showing up. It's just, and I just think that it was like my mindset changed. I wasn't looking for like the closed door, I was looking for the open doors, and so.
You seem a little emotional about it right now.
Yeah, just to think about, like, it's been such a journey for me, to go from being in the place that I was, when my marriage ended. I was in a terrible job that it was so stressful, and now, like, I'm like so happy in my job. I have more money than, honestly, like, not that I need that, like, really more money than I need to make my ends meet.
You're doing well.
I'm doing well, and so I'm like, there's something to this. There's something to this kind of open space. And what's been really cool, the more reading that I've been doing about it, like, I found this book so interesting. It's called The Master Key System. And you can get it at the library.
Master Key System.
The Master Key System. It was written in 1912 by this guy named Charles Hennell. And it really, it's the same stuff. It's the same stuff that, like, the Universe Talks guy, Mike Dooley, is talking about, the secret people are talking about.
He wrote it in 1912?
1912.
That was right after the last pandemic.
Right.
Hey.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
A long time ago. But yeah, it really is these same principles of, like, identifying your thoughts, identifying what it is you want, and then focusing your energy in a meditative way on a regular, daily, like, Mike Dooley says 4 minutes a day.
So you actually do meditate on it for 4 minutes?
Yeah, you visualize yourself in that space, what's it going to be like to have this many people, and can you see yourself running a successful practice as a successful business person? What will that feel like? What could you imagine that to look like? I signed up. Mike Dooley is, you can find him at theuniversetalks.com, and he has, like, these challenges. So I signed up for this 21-day manifesting challenge, in December, I guess, and I think it was December, but and I did it with my neighbor who suggested the Universe Talks emails, and we just tried it out, I guess. So he suggested making a visualization board, the use of affirmations, just like typical positive thinking things. So I made a manifestation board on Pinterest, focused on that, used that in my visualizations.
And went from 12 and scared to death to 33 and what the hell am I going to do with all these people?
Right.
In 6 weeks. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That to me is incredible. You can just send a few of those people downstairs if you don't have time to take care of them. Try to help out.
I send people your information, Jeff. Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm kidding. Everything's fine downstairs. We're good. Anyways, I'm interested in this challenging of the thinking. What does manifestation lead you to do as far as challenging your thinking?
Well, kind of create a new statement. So.
You mean like challenging the set ways we've had in our minds forever? The universe is like this, and that's the way it is, and there's nothing you can do about it?
Oh, yeah, because you're going to sort of live into that outcome, right?
Right.
Yeah, like a helplessness. So that reinforces like a helplessness state, kind of like fatalism. You can have that mindset. It's not really going to get you anywhere other than just sort of like you're going to be living that out.
Yeah.
And so I think what's underneath manifestation is just like, okay, I'm going to imagine kind of an alternate reality for myself. and just imagine myself in that place. It's kind of like, for those of you who listen to the EMDR podcast, I didn't spend a lot of time on this, but it's sort of like the future template, where you imagine yourself in a future scenario and you're applying positive thinking to that scenario, right? You change the way that you would act.
Is this like when you blow out the candles for your birthday, you can't tell people what you're manifesting, or it doesn't come true?
No,
I'm half joking, but I'm half serious.
I don't think so. But
So you can talk about it with people.
Yeah, but here's the thing that I find, and just in my life, like I personally wouldn't talk about it with other people because one, like we exist in a kind of a homeostasis with our friends and with our family, right? So like part of that balance, if you're a negative person, is you staying negative, right? So there's going to be a lot of people that you'll find in your life that want to
tear
keep
that
you
down.
Yeah, and like unfortunately,
Reggie, no, I was kidding.
that happens, and it's a threat, like. So say you're talking to somebody who like views manifestation as something really evil, or just because it departs from their format of, say, prayer, right?
Sure.
So I find it's actually enhanced my ability to connect to God or the source of all life, right? So instead of changing it, which is interesting because I started out being disillusioned with, I think, just the form of prayer that I had learned.
Well, you and I share the same type of meditation, and that's an Eastern practice, transcendental meditation.
That's right.
And it's from the same idea, except transcendental meditation tells you to remove all thought and just focus on the nothing, and try to be nothing in your mantra. It's very, very effective, by the way.
Yeah,
extremely effective. What, Reggie?
I don't know. That has me thinking about like the differences in terms of Eastern philosophies, religions versus Western philosophy, religions. Like that was, as we do on the Fool show, like the inadvertent thought was, what's the reason behind that? In terms of Eastern philosophy is almost always like being centered on the self, but Western philosophy is always centered on a higher power. I just think that's interesting.
I think Western philosophy is centered around money.
I
frankly.
completely agree.
And this is my personal opinion, not anyone else that's on this broadcast, but and Eastern philosophy is centered on your best self.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, that doesn't take away the idea that a higher power doesn't exist and that God doesn't make things happen and all that good stuff. But if you can focus on being your best self, I think mindfulness comes right in on the same ideal, where I want this for myself because of the benefit it will provide for me. And that sounds a little selfish, but that's also something that you can parlay into, like Kelly takes care of her family, and Kelly takes care of her household, and Kelly has responsibilities, and so taking care of herself was extremely important. And she would have prayed to God for the same idea, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and for me, the outcome doesn't come from any other source, right? It's still, the benefit is still coming from, like this, I guess, I don't know. I do like to call God the source of all things. So anything that flows our way comes from that. And I don't think any manifestor would say that it doesn't,
Well, the universe talking, that could be easily translated to God talking, I think. It's the same idea. Yeah. What is the universe? What is God? We were taught that God, created the universe with one, the Big Bang theory and all. And so if I'm reaching to the universe, I am reaching to God. I don't think there's any difference. I think it's the same exact idea. And everyone has their own image and impression of God. But,
Well, and I think that's always up to the individual. I don't think that there is no inherent, misalignment between those. And I actually find that with most philosophies and religions, there's no inherent disagreement among them. It ends up is people put their own beliefs on top of that, and they can turn that into an us versus them type mentality. But if you absorb kind of what lays at the heart of all those things, a lot of them are saying the same stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah?
So,
Yeah.
So what was at the center of, what did you have to do for this 21-day challenge?
Well, really, there was just like different techniques. You know, he's got a pretty cool setup where you have like this dashboard.
Is there any meaning to the 21 days?
No, I think it's just like here you do this like 3 weeks in a row, and you get some tools.
Did you have to
try
pay him to do the 21 days?
I did, but it was like $19. I got to choose what I wanted to pay him, you know.
Okay.
And so it was like $19. I'm like, okay, sure. He's got to make a living somehow. He
So
won't have to pay me for therapy. You know what I mean?
Tell him to
Like-
manifest how much. We'll see how that works out.
I think he has been manifesting. That's why he was like a global presence.
Anyways, sorry, what's the guy's name?
No.
Sorry, Mike. I'm just kidding.
Mike, you're the coolest. He'd be like, you know, greetings to you.
But anyway, right, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But what did you do in those 21 days? What was the daily process? Was it just the fact that you were going to do the manifestation meditation and all that?
I mean, and honestly, I have to say, I didn't do it all because, like, you know, I didn't have time for all the things that he was throwing at me. So, like, the things that I really took away with was, like, I set my intention, right? This is the thing. Without focusing on the how it's going to come to me, I focused on the what, right? And the emotional content. And I spent time every day visualizing it, imagining myself running a successful practice, you know, imagining how good I would feel on payday and, you know, whatnot. And just like, you know, saying affirmative things to myself, like, you know, I deserve this, I work hard.
Is this like Stuart Smalley?
It kind of felt like
You're
it a
good
little
enough,
bit.
I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
You know, I mean, yeah. In some ways, Stuart Smalley had it right. You know, he was manifesting his own reality. So,
As long as I don't take pictures of women in inappropriate positions.
oh my gosh.
That poor guy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So, I mean,
sidebar.
that's really what I did. I made a vision board, and you know, I kind of focused on those things. And
Did you put pictures of what you were thinking about on it, or what's a vision board for you?
Yeah, a vision board is yeah. So I used Pinterest, which was one of the suggestions that Mike made, and but also, you know, people can make a vision board like cutting up magazines or whatever, and I actually also have one of those. But
Nice.
you know, just covering my bads there.
Yeah.
That's right. But yeah, so I like pin pictures. So like right now, I want to buy a house. I live in an apartment, and I want to buy a house. And anybody's listening, this year in 2021, trying to buy a house is a very scary venture right now with the market.
Right.
And but I'm
Reggie
visualizing.
knows.
Yeah, yeah. And I've got to do it within the next, you know, few months. And so, okay, all right, daunting process. And so I'm visualizing a house. I'm visualizing, you know, what kind of house that I would like to have. I'm imagining myself on that closing day, you know, getting those keys and things like that, and how that's going to feel, and you know, how triumphant I'll feel because the market is so like against me, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, I have a board, a Pinterest board, that has pictures of, you know, how I would decorate my house. It has like some positive sayings on it.
I'm not hip to Pinterest. Is this something that
Yeah.
we
Eh.
can...
Dudes are not. There's not a lot of dudes on there.
that's a fair statement.
You
Teachers
know.
freaking love it though.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome. Counselors, it's good for counselors too. So like, you know, you can get some old magazines and like cut out pictures of somebody, you know, doing some fun stuff. I'm actually like gonna open it now. Oh, there's my manifest board. Oh, there's my beautiful kitchen. I'm gonna cook some food in that kitchen. There
You
is-
already have.
I know, I already have the food. Oh, here's one thing, and this is like, so I have a Jeep Wrangler, which actually is my dream car. And there are things, like, if you're a Jeep owner, like, you can, like, you know, pimp out your Jeep. I really haven't had that opportunity, but I have some like things I'm manifesting for my Jeep.
No, and I feel like you always have to be manifesting stuff for your Jeep. I've got somebody that reports to me that has a Jeep that he's always doing something to it. And then my godmother actually just flipped her Jeep like,
Ooh.
I don't know, a month ago.
Oh no,
She's fine.
she okay?
She's
Oh my
fine. Her
gosh.
husband broke his hand, but
So is what you're doing focusing on the what? Is that what you're doing right now?
I'm focusing on the what in the end. So like here's an example of like an affirmation that I have on my Pinterest board. I am happy to have zero debt. Okay, that is like a classic manifesting statement. So except sometimes some manifestors will say don't use the word debt because that's negative. So you would say maybe like I'm happy to be free to do with my money whatever I want to do with it, right? So some of the statements, I found that it didn't make a difference in the first thing that I manifested, but like, maybe something to play with, like having a positive statement that doesn't use the word debt because that's negative, just having like abundance as a replacement word.
So I wouldn't be able to say I'm manifesting losing a certain amount of weight because losing is a negative word.
Yeah, you would say something like, I feel really awesome when I put these size, whatever pants on.
Or I could say I'm very happy to be in the best shape of my life.
There you go. That's a very good manifesting statement.
Right. I was about 6.
I was going to go 16, but
I could run all day.
There you go. I feel so good because I was able to run all day,
Actually, it was probably 32.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
31, 32.
That tracks.
But anyways, I digress. So what is an intention and how do we work with them?
So intention is just the statement of the outcome. Right?
Okay. So I'm stating I'm happy. So you state a positive feeling and emotion. I am happy to be driving my Porsche 911. What do they make now? They make 911s anymore? I don't know. I am happy to be here in Europe with my wife on vacation.
Yeah.
I am happy to, I don't know. What do you have? Put one out there, Reg.
No, I got it. It's the house. Like, it's where we were.
See?
There you go.
Yeah.
I see.
I'm content at this point. I'm coasted right now. So.
All right. Kelly's got her kitchen already that she's made food in, and what do you make? What's your spécialité de la maison?
Oh my goodness. That's kind of, I think I have to manifest that because, like some of the rupture with the divorce was that like I lost the joy in cooking,
Aww.
I know. Isn't that crazy? I think because I cooked all the time. With
Well, you can make Reggie and I lunch right now if you want.
We're always
right?
game.
Yeah.
We're not going to back down from that.
So I think that like that's one thing that like I kind of need to like remember a little bit about myself. Like maybe in my beautiful kitchen with white marble countertops.
So visualize what you're going to cook and pair it with the emotion that it brings for you.
Yeah, I think I would like to cook Italian food. I'd like to make amazing Italian cuisine.
Do you make your own bread?
No, I used to.
Just
but
buy
I
the
don't.
baguettes?
Yeah, buy baguettes.
Those are good though.
They are good.
I like to buy the frozen ones and just like warm them up in the oven until they're like crispy. It's so
Yeah,
good.
can
Get the
imagine
butter
that.
out.
Some roasted
You're
garlic.
making me uncomfortable.
So hungry. Angela, if you're listening, I need to eat when I get home.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so, but that's the idea though, to pair like a positive emotion with an intention that you'd like to see happen.
Phrased in an as if already done.
As if already done.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you had any hiccups with it since you started?
Well, I think the hiccup really has been consistency. I haven't really been actively doing it until just really recently, like thinking seriously about the house buying thing. I'm like, okay, I need to kind of get back on the game here and do this regularly. So, consistent practice, and then just keeping on the learning path, because I have a lot to learn with it.
Well, what resources are out there for it?
Well,
for manifesting.
Yeah, for manifesting. So, one, I guess I would encourage people to, like, kind of, if you have Netflix, like most of the world does, find The Secret on there. It's a documentary. Yeah, watching The Secret will kind of sort of whet your appetite a little bit to, like, what is going on in the world.
It's a documentary. It's not like a regular movie.
It is. It's a documentary. Yeah.
About people that do this.
Yeah, people who do this are sort of explaining some of the components to it. One of the folks on there, his name's Joe Dispenza. He's actually a chiropractic doctor. But he's written several books. One that I liked was called The Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Really good. Good book. Of course, Mike Dooley at The Universe Talks.
Mm-hmm.
The Creation Frequency. This was actually a sweet little find from the Columbus Library. A very small book that kind of broke it down into different steps through the author's perspective and his experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if you want to get real crazy, the Master Key System.
1912, Charles Haanel.
Charles Haanel. So this was interesting because, they used to have like correspondence courses, where you would like mail away for. And so this was like a 24-week correspondence course originally that people would get like in weekly installments, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely an audiobook, I think.
Yeah, but in 1912 they did frontal lobotomies and stuff too still.
Well,
is
it the same thing? I don't know.
We had a 1908 book come up on our show the other day around the Gabalion, so.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So how does this relate at all to therapy? I mean, is this something that you've been able to utilize with your clients?
Well, just, very lightly. One, because, like, as an ethical therapist, we definitely need to use, what is it?
Practices that are proven?
What's it called?
Scientifically proven practices?
EFT, yeah. Like, things that, like, have been measured and studied. So, like, I use it pretty loosely. But with clients when we're doing talk therapy, we'll kind of like hit on a negative belief and maybe there's something that they want to have done in their life, and they just need to kind of shift in their thinking. And so I frame it as a guided imagery exercise where I have them imagine. So most recently I had a girl who it's very tough during coronavirus for college students to get internships. And I've been hearing a lot about this from college students. Are like, oh my gosh, I need an internship, blah, 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 which in the job market will kind of set them behind. So anyway, I had my client imagine herself in her idealized setting in an internship. She didn't have one lined up at all, and it was like kind of, approaching the deadline. And so I just kind of walked her through a guided imagery, had her imagine herself, what would she wear, imagine herself in sort of a board setting, how excited she would be. Really brought in some of that emotional content. And, that was pretty much the work that we did, really. And then really a couple weeks later I asked her, well, so what's going on with your internship? And she was like, you would not believe, but just out of the blue, I got an internship in Chicago. And I was like,
nice.
That's incredible,
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything that she did. She didn't do anything different other than just sort of imagine herself in that place. And, honestly, I don't know how that works. I cannot speak to, like, the channels that shifted.
But
I have more learning to do, but
But in as you said, it must be ethical if we're going to use this with clients. She obviously wanted to do this. She agreed to do this.
Oh,
She
yeah.
talked about doing it. She's like, okay, let's talk about it. It's just like a positive visualization.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
That's a very common practice in
Yeah.
counseling, to get people to visualize what they want positively.
We challenge their thoughts. We challenge their, body sensations. We challenge, we have them like imagine again, like the future template in EMDR. I mean, it's kind of the same thing.
The only thing that you've said that I kind of question, a little issue with, is the not being yourself. You said the secret, Dispenza talks about not being yourself,
So
getting away from yourself.
well,
What's that mean? What if you're kind of happy with who you are? I mean, what you're just not getting what you want in your life? I mean, how do you change yourself to get in that position to get what you want in your life?
well, I can see, what you're saying. Maybe that title would put off some people, but I think anybody that would be attracted to that book title probably wants to change something.
Right.
Right.
Well, and I agree with that. There's
Yeah.
plenty of people that probably do want to change who they are, or at least change like aspects of their personality that are negative and like have caused them negative things, like negative thinking, negative attitude, whatever.
Well, yeah, and so I think like just kind of thinking through like where he lands. He really lands on meditation as like the primary means of changing the way your thoughts, like the patterns of your thoughts, right? So you change. Kind
You
of
mean
your
like
neural
the fact that
pathways.
you always, like most people don't expect to succeed.
Sure,
So
or
change that to we're going to succeed, or I already succeeded. Here I am. I mean, is that the idea?
Well, I think so, because like if you're a person who expects to not succeed based on past experience, right, that has a way of forming like how you exist in the world, like yourself, right? And if it's not working for you, then you've got to do something different, and changing your thought patterns is absolutely the way to be different. You can't you can't keep like expecting the same outcome if you don't change your thoughts, or or a different outcome if you don't change your thoughts.
Well, it's extreme, but it's also valid and positive. If you're going from, man, I never get what I want, this never works, I'm not happy, I'm not good, to saying, I already have a house and I'm cooking in the kitchen, I'm making spaghetti for my family right now.
That's right.
I mean, that's completely different. That's like total opposite, 180 difference. And that's if that can, I guess it just shows the power of the human spirit, that if you really think that you can do it, you can do it. And I've always felt that way about my own existence. I mean, I've had so many different things that I've wanted to do and I've achieved. I made a list of 5 things I always wanted to achieve, and I've done about all of them. The only one I haven't done has been on the radio, and this is not on the radio. I wanted to be on the radio. But I've been a lead singer in a band. I've been a head football coach for a high school. I've owned my own business twice, and on and on. And it's just because I believed I could do it, and I didn't let anybody tell me otherwise. So that sounds a lot like what goes into manifesting, is that you just don't let people tell you otherwise, and you believe in it. And it sounds like there's a little bit of meditative focus and positive affirmation, Stuart Smalley.
You bet.
And what else? I mean, is there another ingredient that I'm forgetting?
Well, that emotional piece, like it's not just your thoughts, like you're actually living into like the felt sense of what it will be to be in your outcome.
Right, there's a difference between you can do it, asshole, to you can do it, asshole. I mean, you get the idea, though, because Reggie said it earlier, Mike said it earlier in the idea that, in coaching, you feel like the negativity about not doing it.
Right.
As opposed to doing it.
Although, I will say that there's an old ball coach that I seem to remember doing a lot of visualization exercises.
I did some.
with his teams before playing.
And they came
What do you
back
think
and
I'm
said,
talking about?
Coach, We caught that touchdown pass. I was like,
Awesome.
yeah, we did. I believe in that. I totally believe in that.
No, I understand.
And when I did it, I felt much better, and I thought we were successful. And sometimes I talked myself out of doing it, and I regretted that because you should do it consistently. As Kelly says, you have to be consistent with any of these things, and manifesting's got to be consistent like anything else you would do.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. To change the patterns, you have to be consistent.
All right, so 1,000 people have listened to this show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's not great.
that's crazy.
1,000 people have, and we haven't even finished recording it. And I'm very happy about that.
Well,
And we're going to get a sponsor. We got a
That
sponsor.
feels so amazing.
In fact, it was Dispenzo.
I was about to say.
Joe Dispenza called me and said he's going to sponsor us and let us give him online chiropractic work. Well, okay, I can't make fun of it because I think that Kelly's right. I think that if you actually believe that stuff can happen, you can manifest it.
It's true.
I don't know.
I mean, it's worth a try, right? Like, what do you have to lose? To try it out and see, like, oh my gosh, like, people aren't just making it up. Like, they're not making up their outcomes.
Well, I firmly believe, just on a personal level, if I was going to manifest something, it would be for me to be back in the best shape I've been in my life. Because that's the part about me that I dislike the most, is that I'm not in that kind of shape. And so I'd want to do that first. And I think if that happens, everything else is going to fall into place. Everything else would just come right in line if I'm feeling like that. So I'm going to go forward. Everyone listening, I'm making this public. I'm manifesting that I'm going to be in the best shape of my life in 1 year. There, done. It's already done.
So in a future episode, we're going to do a live EMDR session, and in another future episode, Jeff's going to bring his vision board of him being in the best shape of his life.
That's right.
That's right.
And I have a picture of me at 31 or whatever that would be probably where I'd want to be.
Good deal.
There you
Yeah, you gotta take the doors that open to you along the way. So like, it's one thing to sort of say these things, but there are action steps that kind of get presented to you to move forward on.
Yeah.
And you just got to do those things.
Yeah.
But you don't create. That's the thing. Like, you're not drumming up that business. Like I didn't go out and like stand on the street corner and like hold up a sign like for come to counseling. Like, I advertised in only. Like, I have terrible SEOs. Like, people will, like, email me every day, like, let me improve your SEO. Like, terrible. Like, internet presence. I just advertise on one place, psychologytoday.com, and, like, that is it. And, like, I didn't do anything different. But I said yes to the people that came to me, And so, I think that's the thing, too, is that you just got to look for the new doors that open and walk through them.
Well, I've been friendly with this one group in Columbus that does counseling for a while now. I'm on the executive board of Central Ohio Counseling Association with a woman that works in this, and so I've met them, I know them, they're good people. And this week they sent me the first referral that they've ever sent me. Yeah. And I didn't manifest any of that, by the way, but just positive thoughts and outreach.
Yeah.
And it returns.
Yeah,
It just returns.
it does.
Reggie, any questions? Our She Shed lady missed out on a couple great episodes today. I'm sorry that Lisa couldn't. She had to work today.
Ooh.
Yeah, we got to figure it out.
That
She's
happens.
working Saturdays now, and I don't know if she's going to be able to do Saturday. I'm sure she would have had tons of questions on both of these.
Oh, I'm sure.
She's totally all about it. She does have a she shed in the backyard, so we're not just making
Oh,
that
that's
up.
awesome.
She's my brother's dear wife. So we'll have Reggie if he has any last questions for
No, I'm
our
good.
guest. Kelly, you have any final thoughts?
Just encourage people to try it. Try it out.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can't get this wrong.
There's no harm in it. There's nothing
yeah.
that could come of it. So definitely worth a shot.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I look at it this way. If you're telling me that I just need to think positively about things that I want in my life and like focus on that 4 minutes a day and it has a chance of happening,
I mean,
Why not?
Right, why not?
Let's go. I can't believe people aren't really sitting there talking about the $1 million they already have every day, man, or the $1 billion they have every day. You know, just $1 million would be what to Bezos, like half a day's work.
No, not even.
So it's less than that.
It's like 2 hours work.
Oh my!
He's making like
That'd
$1
be
billion an
nice.
hour.
That's just ridiculous.
Yikes.
Anyways, Kelly, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mike, thanks for everything again, and really excited to present Manifesting today, and don't know what the next episode is going to be like, but I'm sure it's going to be great. Maybe it'll be live EMDR. I don't know. We'll go live on the internet for that one. But anyways,
Forget it. We'll do it live. All right.
thanks everyone. Take care. We'll see you soon.